Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunattu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shrutismriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Samastajana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmi. So we saw the introduction was given about how the five koshas are there and those have to be negated. They are like layers. What was bondage, how to get out of bondage, some of those questions were answered. And then it was said, Panchanam api koshanam apavade vibhatyayam shuddhaha. When the koshas are negated, then this pure consciousness reveals. The example given there was the moss. Moss, when it is removed, there is clean water below. So now it starts the negation of the five koshas. So kosha literally, as we said earlier, kosha means a covering. And when we say that the body, Annamaya kosha, that is the first kosha. So body is covering the self, does not mean that self is little somewhere inside the body. This covering is in the form of wrong thinking, false identification. So if covering is in the form of false identification, the removal of this covering is through right thinking and negating the wrong notions. So these verses that come now, these are about 10 verses, 10, 11 verses here, which are about Annamaya Kosha, the body made up of food. Anna is food. And through every verse, negation happens using also the logic that how can this body be the self. So the qualities of the self also come out through that, as well as the negation of the body also happens. So this is the style of contemplation, negating who I am not, asserting who I am. In this context, the word I is not used, but it is in third person. So that this body, how can this body be the self? Meaning, how can I be this body? That's the implication. So let us see, 154. Dehoyamanna bhavano namayastu koshaha channe न जीवति विनश्यति तद्विहीनः त्वच्चर्म मांसरुधिरास्थिपुरीशराशौ त्वच्चर्म मांसरुधिरास्थिपुरीशराशिः नायं स्वयं भवितुमर्हति नित्यशुद्धः. This is deho ayam, this body, anna bhavanah. It is born through food. And annamayastu koshaha, it is called annamaya kosha. Annena jivati, by food it sustains. Vinashyati tadvihinaha, and it dies without food. Meaning it is born from food, stays in food, goes back to become the food, and in the absence of food it perishes. What is it composed of? Twak, skin. Twak charma is the skin. Mamsa is the flesh. You might say, why is this tvak charma two times? One is inner skin, one is outer skin. So tvak charma. Mamsa is flesh. Rudhira is blood. Asthi is the bones. Purisha is dirt and filth. Rashi means is a bundle of. Nayam swayam bhavitum arhati. This cannot be the self-existent pure consciousness, because this is matter, sustained by matter, goes back, dissolves without matter. So now this is the body, Annamaya Kosha. Now the covering is how, when I think I am this body, Atma is infinite, body is finite. Atma is pure, body is impure. So when this verse is here, this is to remind oneself again and again, how can I be this body? Right now, my identification with the body is complete. So to negate this identification, these are the verses which have to be used. That this body, where was this body? The food that the father and the mother took is a byproduct of that food. And once the body is born also, it is food that is sustaining this body. When food is not taken properly, then the body has all kinds of deficiencies, and ultimately it perishes, it becomes old and it decays and dies also. So the body goes through this. It is born in food, stays in food, goes back to food. The Upanishads, they describe this. Taittiriya Upanishad says all this. That how the same Panchakosha model is used in Taittiriya Upanishad. That how this body is made up of food. In fact, the definition of food there is what? Adyate atticha bhutani. That which the beings consume, which in turn consumes the being. That is called as the food. So we think we are eating some food, pizza or idli or rice, thali, whatever we are eating. We think we are consuming that, but actually that is consuming us. This body is consumed by food. Of course, the food energizes the body also, but it is just a byproduct of food. And how much is my association and identity with this byproduct of food? If somebody puts on extra weight, it plays psychologically on their mind that I have put on so much of weight. What are people talking about me? If somebody loses weight, it makes them feel so good. They feel nice about it. People commenting, they feel good about that also. It's just a byproduct of food. Not that we should not take care of the body. One should take care of the body, do whatever required, but as an instrument. My self-esteem, my identity cannot be based on this body. The conditions also this body goes through are conditions of this body. We will see as we go along. In the Chandogya Upanishad, there is an experiment. So when Shvetaketu comes to his father, when the father wants to demonstrate this, that the body is a product of food and the mind also is a product of food. Annamayam hi manaha, it is said there. So he teaches him some Vedic chanting, and the boy is able to learn very fast and remember also. Then he tells him that don't eat food for a few days, do fasting. So when he does that, after a few days when the boy is called, he says, now you chant. The boy is not able to chant, he has become weak, but more importantly, his mind also, he doesn't remember many things. Then the father tells him, now go and eat, have food. He has food, and now then the father says, now you chant. His memory comes back, he starts chanting, he feels more energetic, his voice comes out more loudly. So the idea is that body is byproduct of food, mind also is byproduct of food. It sustains by food, it will die without food. And nowadays it is very difficult. Nowadays it is very strange. Why do we even eat food? I think we eat only food only for the sake of some taste or for some habit. Because everything else we have to eat anyway separately. Vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E, B12, everything we have to take separately. Because food is not having that in enough quantity, so eat. Protein the powder also, calcium supplement also. So why are we eating food then? So this body is just a byproduct of this food. Controlling the food, body gets controlled. So as a byproduct of food, do I want to consider myself just as a bundle of food? That food which is outside, which is considered as food, when it goes inside, suddenly becomes me, this body. When it comes out of the body as waste product, that is not me. So in between, how can this be me? When outside it is food and then waste product is also not me, and both these are not me, how does it go inside and just become me? It is just a, what we say, it is just something like a fuel, that the car requires a fuel. It's like that the food is required by this body. The body is an equipment, car is the fuel. I mean, car is the equipment, the diesel is the fuel. In the same way, body is the equipment, food is the fuel. And every 3 times a day or every 3 hours a day, one needs to put that fuel to keep this machine going. That's the attitude of a seeker, that I am not this bundle of skin and flesh and bones and all these. Because who am I? Swayam, I am that self-effulgent, pure consciousness, Nitya Shuddha. How can I be this bundle? Because the body is seen, separate. The seer is separate, the seen is separate. So this is one verse which tells us more and more about this. That the body is born from food of the parents, nurtured by food, and when it dies, and without food it will die. When it dies also, what happens? It becomes food. It decays, plants, it becomes manure actually, decomposes. Birds, insects, so many of them, they'll just worms, they'll just eat it away. How can I be this? Before this body was born, I was there. The next verse will speak about that. Before the body was born also, I was there. After the body dies also, I will be there. How can I be this body then? So this Viveka, so these are very hard-hitting verses, which when I remember again and again, either I memorize these verses or the thoughts conveyed in these verses, I should remember and repeatedly bring them to the mind. Especially when my self-esteem fluctuates depending on the body, I should remind myself that how can I be this? When a wrinkle comes, when the first white hair comes, the mind starts feeling, I am old, I'm becoming old. The body is going through all the conditions. So these are the verses to negate the false identification, and false identification is in terms of what I think about myself associated with this equipment. Equipment is just a means to transact in the world. With the body, we can perceive the world outside, we can do sadhana. It's meant only for that much. My identity cannot be this body. The next verse. पूर्वं जनेरधिमृतेऽपि नायमस्ति जातक्षणक्षणगुणो नियतस्वभावः नैको जडश्च घटवत् परिदृश्यमानः स्वात्मा कथं भवति भावविकारवेत्ता. So he says Purvam Janehe. Before birth, where was this body? I was not aware of this body. Adhimriterapi. After death also, no ayamasti. This does not exist. So I was an entity who was existent before this body was born. From spiritual standpoint, it is said that the jiva associates with the fetus in the womb at 3 months. When the fetus is 3 months old, that time the jiva associates. How is it? So that means that the jiva existed before the body was formed. And for 3 months' time, the body was growing as a part of the mother's body. What was the state of the jiva before this body? It was there in some other form. According to its karma, in some other form, in some other loka. Then based on the karma to exhaust certain desires, certain experiences to have, the jiva associates with the body. So before this body was born also I was existing. I did not come from nowhere. That is illogical. And there are enough proofs to say that the jiva existed before. There are so many cases of children who tell about their previous lives, show the places, go to those places, speak about the people. They prove that reincarnation is a fact. So that means that the jiva existed in between these two bodies also. And the jiva remembers what was the experience in the previous form. So Purvam Jane Radhi. Adhimritepi na ayamasti. And even when the body drops, the jiva still exists. Means the jiva is independent of this body. Jiva takes the form, sustains the form, drops the form. Like we take a phone, use it, after some years we discard it. It's just like that. Purvam Jane Radhi. Mriterapi na ayam asti. Adhiramriterapi ayam na asti. Adhimritepi, sorry. After death does not survive because body being bundle of food, it becomes the food, disintegrates. If you see from 5 elements standpoint, it is made up of 5 elements, sustained by 5 elements, merges back into 5 elements. If you remember earlier in Vivek Chudamani, the word which was used for it was Panchatvam Apuhu. The word for death is Panchatvam Apuhu. Panchatvam Apuhu means the 5 elements go back to 5 elements. So this is the first one. Purvam Jane Adhimritepi na ayam asti. Jata kshana kshana guno aniyata swabhavaha. It only lasts for a very short while. Jata kshanaha. We may say, but no, one is loud, life expectancy has increased. One is living for almost 90, 100 years now. Compared to the existence as a jiva, millions of years one has lived as a jiva. In that march of time, many births one has taken. This one birth as a jiva, as this body, even 100 years is a speck, just a little moment as though. Jata kshana. Kshana guno aniyata swabhavaha. Kshana guno is the qualities of it are also fleeting and subject to change. Aniyata swabhava. It is not constant. Continuously the body goes through so much of changes. Every single moment, how many cells are dying, how many cells are getting born, health, disease, all that keeps going. Jata kshana kshana guno aniyata swabhava. Naiko jadascha ghatavat paridrishyamanaha. It is not one. We may say, but this is only one body. Not like that. It is a combination of various parts. We are calling it as one. It's actually a combination. Like a car is a combination of so many parts. We may say this is one car, or one computer, one phone. It is a combination of so many different parts assembled together. Just like a home, how it is made. So many ingredients go into it. Brick and the sand and the iron rods and the cement and the water, and it goes on, paint. Then we say this is one house. In the same way, na ekah, self is one pure consciousness, infinite. It does not have parts. That's why it's called nishkala. Body has many parts. So it is not one, naikaha. Jadascha, it is inert. So what is the definition of inert in Vedanta? That which does not know itself and which cannot illumine others is called inert. You may say, but it knows many things around it, not by itself. Because consciousness enlivens it, it is capable of knowing. The moment that stops, subtle body leaves this gross body, so consciousness no more expresses as life. Then that body cannot know anything. Even though the body is lying down, so many relatives are there all around, they are preparing for the funeral. The body can know nothing because by itself it is jada. It's like this table. It cannot know anything because there is no subtle body and consciousness is not expressing as life. So it is inert. And what is the nature of consciousness? It is sentient. So here in these verses, contrast is brought about that why the body cannot be consciousness, because body is like this, consciousness is like this. Both are opposite. Naiko, it is not one, it is inert, jadascha. Ghatavat paridrishyamana, it is seen like a pot. So seer and the seen are always different. Like a pot is seen separately, the seer is separate. In the same way, the body is seen. All the states of the body are seen by us. So how can I be this body? Because the law of seer and seen says the seer is different from the seen. The seer cannot be the seen at the same time. What does that mean? Body is seen, mind is the seer. But mind also goes through various states. So then mind is the seen, intellect is the seer. So at the same time, mind cannot be both seer and the seen. When the mind becomes the seer, body becomes the seen. When the mind becomes the seen, intellect becomes the seer. So that which is the seen cannot be the seer at that same time. And body by itself being inert is not the seer. Ultimate seer is consciousness, the sakshi, which sees the states of the intellect, mind, body, world outside. All these states are seen by the sakshi, which never becomes the seen. Drigeva natu drishyate. The seer in us, the consciousness in us, will never become the seen, meaning it will never be an object of perception of something else. Because it is self-effulgent, it is self-existing, there is nothing beyond it. So it is the ultimate witness. In quantum physics, they call it ultimate observer. The ultimate observer is this consciousness. And the body is the observed. So he says, Ghatavat paridrishyamana. It is only the seen. Svatma katham bhavati. How does this become the self? Because the qualities are all contrary. The self is one, the self is conscious, the self is the seer. The body is exactly opposite. Body has many parts, body is inert, and body is seen. So katham bhavati svatma. Bhava vikara vetta. Because it is the witness of all the changes. Vetta means the knower, the seer. Consciousness is the seer of all the changes of the body. So how can it be the body? So now these are the verses. Two verses. First one spoke about the content of the body. Second one spoke about the existence before birth, after death. It does not exist. Now the third one. Panipādādi mahān dehaha nātmā vyangepi jivanāt tattachakteranāśāscha na tattachakteranāśāscha na niyamyo niyamakaha. So he says here, Pani, hands, Pada, feet, Pani Pada Adi Mandeha. So the body is composed of these parts, made of arms, legs, etc. Na Atma Vyangepi Jivanat. Even if these parts are amputated, the body still survives. Na Atma. So this cannot be the Atma. Because part by part you can remove, the body will still be there. Meaning it's a composition of all the parts. Tatachakte ranashacha. So, na niyamyo niyamakaha. Tatachakte ranashacha means that it will continue to function even when the parts are amputated. Na niyamyo niyamakaha. So it is subject to the rule of the another. Niyamyaha. Na niyamakaha. So it cannot be the Atman. Meaning body is controlled by so many other factors. Nothing controls the Atma. Na niyamyo niyamakaha. That Atma is the ultimate ruler or presiding over power over this body. It is not ruled by anything else. It lends its power to everything else. But the body is not like that. Body is opposite of it. The body is controlled by many factors. Our own mind also controls the body. External things control the body. Food controls the body. And different parts are there in this body, which also if you remove, the body may still survive. Which means that the body is a composition of many things put together, which is not the case with the Atma. The Atma is different. Na Atma does not have these parts. Hence, he says here that this body cannot be the Atma. Because body is composed of parts, body is controlled by other factors. Like we said earlier, the mind, the states of the mind, so many diseases at the body level are psychosomatic diseases. If the mind is stressed and the mind is disturbed, it will affect the body. It is one of the few days back, somebody was telling me that that gentleman had some kidney stone. So the homeopathy doctor told him One aspect is okay, take some medicine and dissolve it and all that. But he said that filtering organs of ours get affected very badly when there is a conflict between what I value and what I do. You see what is a connection? When there is a disintegration in the mind, I know what is right, but I'm doing something wrong. When there is this disintegration, it will affect the filtering organs badly, it seems. Many things like that. Louis Hay wrote a whole book on that. You can heal your life. How the states of the mind affect the body, and disease is a manifestation of that. In our culture, we say Adhi, Vyadhi, and Upadhi. Adhi is at the body level. Vyadhi is at the mind level. So this Vyadhi, the mental afflictions also create the Vyadhi, body, Adi. Vyadhi at the mind level, body, Adi. Disease at the body level. So this body is controlled by the states of the mind. Body is controlled by the quality of food we eat. Little bit of impurity is there in the water, finished. Body falls sick. And that is a strange thing. 9 months in the womb of the mother, one was there, surrounded by dirt and filth in that hot atmosphere. What hygiene was there? And when one comes out, how much the body gets affected by so many factors all around the environment and the hygiene and the cleanliness and everything. One may have some reason saying that the food was going in through the umbilical cord, so the what was around the body does not affect the body. That is an explanation. The point here is to understand that how this body is affected by so many factors, external factors, the food that we eat, the mind and the state of the mind. And it is just an equipment which goes through all these modifications. And even some of the parts of the body are removed, it may continue to function. So the Atma is exactly opposite of this. The Atma remains unaffected. It is not controlled by anything. The Atma does not have parts. And without the Atma, the body will not live. But without the body, Atma will live. So how can I be this body? So that is the third one. Then what are the states? Different states the body goes through. Deha tad dharma tat karma tadavasthadi sakshinaha sata eva svata siddham tadvai lakshanyam. This is deha tad dharma. So what is the dharma of this deha? 6 modifications the body goes through. It is conceived, asti. It is born, jayate. It grows, vardhate. It viparinamate, it modifies. Apakshiyate, it starts becoming old and decaying. Vinashyati, dies. This is the dharma of the body. Dharma here means the nature, the natural life cycle of this body. So this body has a manufacturing date, has an expiry date. Atma has no manufacturing date, no expiry date. So it is tad vailakshanyam. It is completely different. Vilakshan means different. The body goes through these 6. Tad dharma, deha tad dharma, tat karma. And the body does karma also. The self is akarta. The body does actions. So deha tad dharma, tat karma, tad avasthadi. It goes through states. What are these states? The states of health, disease, terminal disease, death, the states the body goes through. Tadavasthadi sakshinaha. Atma is a sakshi of all these. Atma is not going through any states. Sata eva svata siddha. Atma by itself exists. Sata eva. Svata siddha. It does not need a body to prove anything, but the body needs the Atma to function. Hence, tadvailakshanyam atmanaha. Hence, it is completely different from this Atma. So remember, Atma word means I. So don't say, okay, some Atma is there, body different from it, how does it matter? No, Atma means I. The true I is different from all these. That true I has got identified with this one body and now is thinking I am this son of so and so, father of so and so, brother of so and I have these responsibilities, I have to do this, I have to do that, becomes anxious, has fear and sorrows. This cycle goes on. And then one day one dies and again one is born. Why? Because one does not know that my nature is different from all these. Why am I even associating with these? So more and more one thinks about these. Remember, the whole book is meant for a seeker who wants to know the absolute truth. One may live in the world, do one's duties, but at the back of the mind one knows, I am not this body, this is a role I am playing. Like how an actor puts makeup, puts a wig, puts whatever, powder and whatever has to be done. While playing the role, he may have many props also, wear a special type of costume and carry some special things with him for that particular role. But as soon as that role is over, all that comes out. One doesn't think that I am that. In the same way, we are playing various roles. But who are we in our true nature? Tadvailakshanyam atmanaha. I am the Atma which is different from all these. The roles, the equipment, the various things that are required to play the roles, different from all these. The next one is terrific. Not something new, but just the Sanskrit verses, the next two, are to generate vairagya. Shalyara shirmam saliptaha malapurnoti kashmalaha katham bhavedayam vetta swayametad vilakshanaha. So he says here, it is Shalya Rashi. It is a collection of bones. You know the definition of skeleton? The definition of skeleton is man who is inside out. Man who is inside out is a skeleton. Bones, collection of bones. No, but that is not true. We don't see the bones. We are seeing such nice skin and everything. There is a mam saliptaha. And bones are surrounded with the flesh. Malapurna, it is filled with filth. Atikashmalaha, extremely impure. And his body stinks because it's impure. Every few minutes it will sweat continuously actually. So that's why all this cosmetics, deodorants, all that is required. I must have said this earlier also, but these Devtas and Bhagwan, when they manifest in front of us, they literally hold their breath as though. Because this body of ours, it stinks like anything. So they quickly ask, Bhai, tell me what do you want? Whatever blessing you want, they will say Tathastu and just disappear. Bhai, you can't handle this body. So it is like that. It is a skeleton filled with flesh, extremely impure, dirty and filthy. Katham bhavayed ayam veta. How will this be the knower? By itself it is so jada, it is inert. Swayam etad vilakshana. Atma which is self-existent is the real knower. is different from this. So the first line is to generate that Vairagya. A bone is structured, plastered with flesh. And you should see when go to a crematorium and you see the body. 50, 60 years one has eaten food, made this body what it is. And in a few minutes it burns and comes down to bones. The flesh completely burns. Bones are what remain. That's why it's called asthi. It still remains, which remains even after the flesh is burned. That is called asthi. Few minutes, a whole lifetime of hard work of maintaining this body, eating the food, doing exercise, giving it proper rest, cleaning it, bathing it, doing makeup, everything finished in few minutes, burnt out, over. When one sees that, it will generate Vairagya. One is to go and see it, other is to visualize. This is meant to generate Vairagya in our mind towards this body. That what am I pampering this body for? In few minutes this will die. It will just get burnt, completely burnt. Sometimes when we visualize one's own death, to visualize one's own death and the whole process of the body getting burnt or body getting buried will give tremendous Vairagya. What is this body? At the same time, it will give the right perspective that as long as the body is there, let me use it to do sadhana and realize the truth. If the battery is dying, 1% is left, what will I do? I don't have a charger. Nobody else is there around me who has a charger. Now the battery is dying. What will I do? Immediately call somebody who is very important to me and tell them, look, I am in such and such place, my battery is dead, I am not able to contact anybody. I am safe, I will reach by this time. I will inform. I will do what is the best thing possible. The body's battery is continuously dying. We may keep recharging it with food, but actually it is moving only towards death. So what should I do with this body? What is best possible should be done with the body, and that is strive to do sadhana to realize the self and get out of body identification. If I use the body to get out of body identification, that is the best use of the body. But if I use the body to strengthen the body identification, that is the worst use of the body. The body will then become the cause for the next body. Whereas I can use the body to get out of body identification and end the cycle of birth and death. So he says here, Shalya Rashir Mamsalipta Malapurno Atikashmalaha. This one line can keep on going in round and round in the mind. If one says, no, that's very terrible. I don't want to think like that. Okay, then find some other method of getting out of body identification. But get out of it. I am not this body. That has to go very, very deep and clear. And that is not going to make us insecure or make us, one may feel if I am not the body, what will happen? No. Look at so many great people. They have been able to manifest their infinite nature and serve the society that even till today we are remembering them. How many hundreds of years have passed after Shankaracharya left the body? Gautam Buddha left the body. Mirabai left the body. Tukaram left the body. We are still remembering them because they used their body to realize that infinite truth, and the knowledge that they have, the way they lived, what they shared with people is affecting millions of people, generations after generations, even till today. Because that's the best use of the body. Use the body to rise above body identification. Like we use a ladder to climb the ladder, and then we drop the ladder. Same way. So Shalya Rashir Mamsalipta Malapurno Atikashmalaha. Katham Bhavedayam Vetta. How can this bundle of these bones and the flesh and the skin and all this be the knower? It is Jada. It does not know anything. Shalyarashir Mamsalipta Malapurno Atikashmala. Each word of this is so hard hitting and powerful. Bundle of bones plastered with flesh. Which will become food for the creatures. Which is sustained by the food, which will become food for the creatures. That is the flesh. Shalya Rashi Mamsalipta. Malapurna. It is filled with mala in the body. All the 7 holes, whatever comes out of the body is mala, is dirt. Nothing auspicious comes out. Ati Kashmala. Hence it is extremely impure. So the more I think of this, more Vairagya comes. So similar thought again, the next one also. Tvang mam samedo sthipurisha rashau aham matim mudha janak karoti vilakshanam veti vicharashilaha nijasvarupam paramartha bhutam. Again, see the content of this body is again and again being brought about because we don't consider this body like that. There's a delusion in the mind that this is such a wonderful piece. And there's an attraction also after that. Valentine's Day, celebrate love for each other. Yesterday I had sent a video. If you have time, go through that video. It's a verse 8 of Bhajagovindam where Gurudev says, verse 8 says, Kate Kanta Kaste Putra Samsaroyam Ativa Vichitra. This samsara is extremely strange. We say, this is my wife, this is my son, but who are this wife and son? And who are you? All of them are nothing but modification of cow dung. Cow dung becomes the plant. Plant is eaten by the person then gives birth to a child. Each one is a modification of cow dung. So he says 3 clods of cow dung are relating to each other, saying, I can't live without you. What delusion is this? So this body is made up of all this, but we don't see it like that. There is one delusion about this body that has to be destroyed. And because body identification is the root cause of sorrow and ignorance, that has to be hit hard. Hence all these verses, 11 verses are to hit at the body identification. So again he enumerates, Tvang is the skin, Mamsa is the flesh, Meda is the fat, Asti is the bones, Purisha Rasha, it is filled with filth. Aham matim mudhajanak karoti. Only a deluded fool will say, I am this. One Mahatma, he said, if there is a dustbin and it is stinking and filled with dirt, will you even go and stand near it? You will move away from it. If you are passing by it also, you will close your nose and go. And this is no better than that dustbin. One is carrying it with oneself. And instead of thinking I am not this, one is thinking I am this. That is delusion to think that I am this bundle of dirt. Outside dirt, one doesn't even want to go near it. But this dirt within the body and the body itself, I am carrying along everywhere. Thinking, yeah, wonderful I am. This is me. That is delusion. He says, Aham matim mudhajanak karoti. See, remember in all this, body is not condemned by itself. It is an equipment. What is condemned is my false thinking. Aham matim, that false thinking, that delusion, that wrong notion is condemned. The body of a Shankaracharya and the body of ours is the same, made up of 5 elements and all this. But Shankaracharya does not have an ahammati in the body. We have the ahammati in the body. Hence that is condemnable. So through these verses, the body by itself is not condemned because that is the nature of the body. Why to condemn that? But the false notion that we have that I am this, that is to be condemned. So we don't torture the body, we don't ill-treat the body, we don't abuse the body. What we do, take care of the body, do the sadhana, get out of body identification. That is what has to be done. So aham matim mudha jana karoti. Vilakshanam vetti vicharashilaha. A wise person who is thinking, he knows this is different from me. I can't be this. Disassociates mentally from this. Vilakshanam vetti. Who? Vicharashila. Who thinks properly. One has to question the very fundamental. Am I this body? A lot of people like to rebel in life. Rebel against tradition, rebel against custom, rebel against this, rebel against the authority of parents, authority of government, rebel, rebel, rebel. Okay? But one has to rebel against the fundamental wrong thinking that we have. I am the body is the fundamental flaw. One has to rebel against that. How can I be this body? Vicharashilaha vilakshanam veti. A thinker, it is very evident actually. But the problem is the delusion all around us and within us is so powerful that what is evident is non-evident. And what is not the truth appears as the truth. That is called moha. Sand is evident in the desert, but because of delusion it appears as water. Otherwise it's absolutely evident, it's just sand. So vicharashilaha vilakshanam veti. A wise person knows that this is different. I am not this body. Nijaswarupam paramarthar bhutam. And my true nature is absolute truth, changeless reality. That is my true nature. So, yeah, Nijaswarupam paramartha bhutam. So now these are the verses to eliminate our body identification. And more one has to think about this. Now he goes on to say the levels. 3 different types of people he speaks about. Dehohamityeva jadasya buddhihi dehe cha jive vidushastvaham dhihi viveka vijnanavato mahatmanaha brahmahamityeva matis sadatmani. So one says dehohamityeva jadasya buddhihi. A dull person, ignorant person, completely ignorant, thinks I am this body and I am this body alone. Dehoham. Extremely identified with the body. Pleasure of the body is one's own pleasure. Nothing else one knows. The goal of life is pleasure. So that is this. Dehoham ityeva jadasya buddhi. The dull person thinks like that. Foolish person. Dehe cha jive vidushastvaham dhihi. A seeker thinks that no, I am not just this body. I am the body as well as the jiva who is indwelling in the body. And this jiva has taken many bodies. So the identification of this person with the body is lesser compared to the previous one, because the identity of this person is I am a jiva who is using this body. So the identification with the jiva bhav as well as with the body is there, both. Viveka vijnanavato mahatmanaha. But for a person who has done vivek, vairagya, shakya sampatti, mumukshutvam and has got this self-knowledge, vijnana, that mahatma, so mahanatma means one whose vision of I has expanded to infinite. Is called mahatma, mahatma or mahanatma yasya saha. Our notion of I is limited to one body, so we are called alpatma. Their vision of I is infinite, is all pervasive, that I am this whole universe, there is only one truth. Everything is in me, I am in everything. That is their feeling. So they are called Mahatmas. What is their thinking? Brahmaham, that I am that supreme Brahman. I am means not this small I, I means the absolute I. Brahmaham iti eva matihi. This is their form no thinking. Sadatmani. They look upon themselves as Atma at all times. So 3 levels are these. ignorant, seeker, and a wise man. Ajnani, Viveki, and a Jnani. It also shows how one has to move from Ajnan to Vivek, from Vivek to Vijnan. Hanumanji, when he was asked, what is your relationship with me, Bhagwan Ram asked Hanumanji, what is your relationship with me? Hanumanji said, from the standpoint of the body, I am your servant. Deha buddhya dasosmi. From the standpoint of a jiva, jiva buddhya tvad I am a part and you are the whole. But from the standpoint of the atma, the self, atma buddhya tvamevaham. From the standpoint of the self, you and I are one. So this covers all the three levels. At the body level, if I think I am the body, that is foolishness. Here Hanumanji is not saying he is the body, but at least he's saying that I am a servant, you are the master. Because identified with the body, that's the way to serve and surrender. Then jiva buddhya tvad I am a part and you are the whole. As a jiva, I am also this small, I am a mind, intellect, that has all the powers that you have, but in small quantity. Ichha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti, I also have. So not to consider oneself only as the body, one considers that I am the body and the jiva. But at Atma level, I am only one pure infinite consciousness. And there is no difference between God and the jiva. Ishvara and jiva, no difference. Essentially, they both are one pure consciousness. So for today, we will stop here and continue this in the next month. Any questions? You are welcome. हाँ जी, वैजयंती जी. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.